Welcome to Wednesday's Economy Watch, where we follow the economic events and trends that affect Aotearoa. I'm David Chaston, and this is the international edition from interest.co.nz. And today we lead with news. Markets are betting that the next rate move by the US Fed will be a hike, and that has juiced up the US dollar today. But first, the overnight dairy pulse auction brought sharply lower prices for the three lines offered. AMF took a 7.5% tumble from the last week's fall auction event. They didn't release the butter price this time. Skim milk powder fell 4.5% from last week, and whole milk powder fell 1.9%. But given the retreat of the New Zealand dollar at the same time, down 2.8%, the impact in local currency will be much less. In the US, there was another good weekly jobs indicator from the ADP for private payrolls, rising about what was expected. And the flash US factory PMI for June shows solid growth, in fact their best in 4 years, but it also signals lower employment and elevated price inflation, so a mixed bag. The fall in factory jobs was the fastest since the pandemic. New order growth was good, but the hikes in input prices are still next level. The service sector rose too, but much more modestly, and new order growth was tame there. But none of this showed up in the Richmond Fed's factory survey. While it did expand, it was very modest and well below its May level and what was expected. They had the same lackluster result in their service sector. There was a well-supported US Treasury 2-year bond auction overnight, delivering a median yield of 4.14%, which was well above the 4.02% median at the same event a month ago. And the Chicago Fed boss said yesterday, US inflation is still too high and going the wrong way. He's presently an alternate FOMC member, but will be a full member in 2027. Across the Pacific, Japan's factories are expanding solidly and faster. They recorded a stronger rise in business activity in June, but the rate of cost inflation has hit a 4-year high there. New orders rose their fastest since 2022. And Singapore is managing to navigate the current global inflation pressures well. They recorded an inflation rate that held steady at 1.8% in May, unchanged for a third consecutive month, and below market expectations of 2%. In India, their flash June PMIs remained elevated and very expansionary in both their factory and services sector. New orders rose at a good pace, but input cost pressures eased, rising at a 5-month low. In Taiwan, we're so used to reporting spectacular results they no longer seem out of the ordinary, but in fact they remain extraordinary. Their May export orders were up 47% from a year ago to almost a new record high. In Europe, their factory PMI is still expanding in June, but less so. Inflationary pressures show signs of softening there. Holding them back is their services sector. And the latest flash PMI for Australia shows that business activity nears stabilisation in June as their service sector improved. But new orders continue to fall, including for new export orders. And staying in Australia, their latest quarterly update for rural commodities notes that the gross value of agricultural production is forecast to fall by 5% to $98 billion in the 2026-27 upcoming year. They expect average broadacre farm business profit to fall by 70%, driven by lower revenue and higher input costs. The US Treasury 10-year yield is now just on 4.46%, down 5 basis points from yesterday. And the price of gold has fallen to $4,130 an ounce, down $50 from yesterday. Silver's at $62 an ounce, down $3.50 from yesterday. And oil prices are down 50 cents at just on $73 a barrel, while the international Brent price is now just on $77 a barrel. Hormuz transits are staying modest, with 16 crude or product tankers exiting over the past 24 hours and 20 entering for new loads. The Kiwi dollar is down another 40 basis points from this time yesterday at 56.7 US cents and a 7-month low. Against the Aussie, we're up 40 basis points and back at 82 Australian cents. Against the euro, we're down 20 basis points at 49.8 euro cents. That all means our trade-weighted index starts today at just over 60.6, which is down another 30 basis points from yesterday and near its lowest level since the GFC in 2009. And the Bitcoin price starts today at $63,388 and up 0.4% from yesterday. Volatility over the past 24 hours has been modest, just over plus or minus 1.8%. You can get more news affecting the economy in New Zealand from interest.co.nz. Kia ora, I'm David Chaston, and we'll do this again tomorrow.